This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
All right. Good evening, everyone. It is 5:30, and I'm going to call the meeting of the Southampton Select Board to order. The meeting date is January 10th, 2024. And if we could start out by saying the Pledge of Allegiance wherever you are. Anybody that might have a flag nearby, if not, at least just say it. So I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Do we have anybody out there as open time for the public? I'm not seeing anybody that I would gather might have another agenda. I'm assuming most people that are on here are just interested townspeople and or department heads. And I will just ask everyone to stay muted. The select board members, you can unmute yourself. So Stephen, if you'd like to, if you had questions, we can, or you can just raise your hand when you wanted to say something. So this evening's agenda basically is going to be turned over to Bernie Lynch from Community Paradigm. We've had a good solid, 6 weeks at least of trying to do some work following up on the TA search project that he has graciously taken on with his company. So we're here today to hear what has resulted from that. And maybe, Bernie, you could just give us a couple-minute overview. We had the whole chart in terms of the process, but just, some of the challenges you might have had and just in general, what you've gone through with your team for the preliminary listing and shortlisting to be able to give us the candidates tonight. So I'll turn it over to you. Thanks.
Okay, and thank you, Chris. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go right into the PowerPoint slides that I have because I'll use those to sort of address sort of the overview and then get into the specifics regarding the candidates that we're bringing forward. So let me do that, and that'll give us some talking points for that. Apologize as I set this up. All right. So as far as this is our presentation to the board with regards to the town administrator finalists that we have for you. It's, in terms of the challenges we've had, we were engaged by the town back on the 31st of August. We, as we go into a community, always spend a good amount of time right at the beginning talking to people within the town. We made a point here of speaking with the select board members as well as other stakeholders in the town that we could get hold of to discuss either in direct conversations or through some questionnaires that we distributed, the community priorities and the attributes that the town is looking for at this point in time from their town administrator. We actually held a community forum as part of this as well. So we got some feedback from the public as to what the desired attributes were and what the issue were facing the town. It is a very challenging time right now, and you'll see some of that as I talk a little bit about our process as we started doing the active recruiting and interviewing of candidates. I think as I indicated back when we were brought on, it's been a real period of change for town administrators and town managers throughout the Commonwealth. But at this point, roughly 3/4 of the towns have changed over their town administrators over the last 4 or so years. So with that type of turnover, there aren't necessarily people out there with the backgrounds, that can quickly move into these positions. It requires quite a bit of effort to identify candidates and bring them in that might be suitable for the specific responsibilities of a position like this. And so that's a challenge that we have across the Commonwealth. And we've seen it in the numbers of candidates that we see in communities. We've seen it in candidates, pulling out of searches midway through, and that has been something that we've seen happen here in Southampton as well, that I will directly speak to. The other issue that we have, particularly in certain parts of the state. When I say this, all in all, it's a statewide problem, but it's particularly challenging on the Cape communities, and then pretty much everything west of 495. But I'll say it's also been a challenge even closer to Boston. We've done some large communities right adjacent to the city of Boston within the last couple of years. And even in those communities, the lack of candidates has been a great challenge. We've had a couple of communities that come immediately to mind adjacent to Boston. One of them had 13 candidates. This is a community of this is the town of Brookline, a town of 70,000 people right next to Boston. I think we had 13 candidates. The town of Arlington with 45,000 people right next door to Boston. We only had 19 candidates. Get a little bit farther out west from there to 495, we're getting 30 or so candidates to many of our searches. But once we get past 495, the number of qualified candidates drops. You have a number of communities that people aren't necessarily looking to make moves, or they're relatively new in their positions, or they may be near the end of their careers. In other cases, they aren't necessarily interested in transferring over to a new position. So those are the sort of the challenges that we have faced with throughout the Commonwealth. But it's something that everyone's been talking about here in the state. The communities, the Massachusetts Municipal Association has made this a priority. There are efforts underway to try to build the bench so that we have more candidates moving forward. But that's where we are at this point in time. And so when we go into a community, just to sort of go back to our process, it's important for us to make sure that we understand the community. And that's why we go in and do that preliminary work so that we'll know what type of candidates we should be going after and which ones might be the right fit for what your needs are, given the challenging market that we face. We try to put all of that information together in a position profile, which we did in the case of Southampton. We sent that on to you, and we seem to have gotten it right in terms of what you see as the priorities and what you see as the issues and what the skills are that you're looking for. The board approved that profile, and we really began in earnest on October 13th, even though we were doing some more passive type recruitment before then of letting people know that the job was coming. We really became very active on October 13th, posting the position with the Municipal Association. We also used a number of other posting areas to try to get the word out to alumni of public administration programs and other organizations, professional municipal organizations that we're aware of, that we can put the job out to. We have our own database of about 400 individuals, and these are all of the managers in the Commonwealth, as well as their assistants and other members of the Managers Association, as well as those people that we're familiar with because they've expressed interest in becoming town administrators here in the state, or people that we have run across in one form or another, to sort of let them know that the position is out there. And then we do very, extensive candidate-specific outreach. We identify through going through that database, as well as reaching out to other individuals in a particular geographic area, try to identify candidates that might be a good fit or that we've heard would be appropriate. And we contact them by phone, by email, by word of mouth through somewhat mutual, contacts to let them know about the position, to try to build up as large a pool as possible. We did have an initial deadline for the applications of November 10th. And at that time, we received a number of applications. We did keep this position open until filled, so we were able to continue to add on as much as we possibly could to build up that candidate pool. We had a few good candidates at the beginning, but we were certainly interested in seeing what else we had out there. In the end, we identified 15 candidates that we felt were appropriate, that we had conversations with, and that had expressed some interest in applying. We looked at them in terms of in evaluating them as to whether they would be appropriate to move forward with you. We looked at their actual municipal career experience and their specific interest in the town of Southampton, wanting to make sure that they were applying not just for any position, but specifically for Southampton, and all of these candidates were. We did focus in, as I say, on municipal career experience. It's important, based upon what we were told by board members, that we have people that understood town meeting form of government, that understood municipal government, because of the staff turnovers that may be occurring within the town. So we wanted people that understood the form of government, select board, town meeting, elected, a number of elected positions that you have there in Southampton that impact the way an administrator would be able to effectively manage there. Was clear that there's some financial issues in the town that you need to be able to grapple with, so we wanted a knowledge of municipal finance. Municipal finance in Massachusetts is different than municipal finance in other locations, and it's vastly different than private sector finance as well, in terms of how the accounting takes place and how the money can be utilized. We also thought it was important, based upon what we were told by individuals in the town, that you needed someone that understood municipal law, that understood how zoning works, how processes operate, so we focused in on that as well, to at least have some sense of how all of that came together. You do have a number of large infrastructure projects in the town that are coming up that that need to be managed, including the senior center, the public safety complex, some road projects. So we felt that was important, that people understood how you actually manage large projects of that sort. Municipal procurement, which relates certainly to the projects, but also relates to municipal law, how projects are to be bid and proposals accepted. There is, various parts of the state law regarding municipal procurement that need to be considered. It would be nice if we could find someone who has the certifications. So we certainly looked at that, but those can be obtained. Wanted someone that understood personnel management, again, particularly from the municipal sector, but that became less important than just some experience in managing personnel. And very important in Southampton, as well as a number of other communities that we work in, is the importance of someone who understands the importance and value of citizen boards and how you interact with those citizen boards in a collaborative and consensus building fashion. Of the 15 candidates that we identified, either through them contacting us or us contacting them, 8 were considered viable, and they were identified. And unfortunately, 6 of those people, over the course of the process, withdrew, or in the end decided not to apply. Their withdrawals, in 2 cases, it was as a result of other job opportunities that had come up since they applied or came up after they applied, that made them unable to move forward with the process. They felt that these other jobs were more appropriate for what they were looking for. And then we had other candidates that decided to actually not respond to any further outreach that we made to them, and decided it just wasn't something that they were interested in moving forward with. Which brings us to the 2 finalists that we have for you tonight. We had hoped, sort of relating again to that number of viable candidates, we had hoped to have 3 candidates, but as of Monday, one of the other candidates that we'd been spending quite a bit of time with made a decision to stay in his current town administrator position. in your region, but was not interested in continuing on in the Southampton process. And there are a variety of reasons for that. Nothing having to do with Southampton. We did not hear anything that would indicate that Southampton has any issues that people are concerned with. They simply felt that at this point in time that they weren't ready, or their families weren't ready, or professionally they had other responsibilities that they wanted to address within the communities that they worked in, and that's why they made those decisions. And in some cases, it had to do with other job opportunities that were more in line with what they were looking for in terms of challenges or compensation. But we do have two good finalists for you that we're familiar with, that we've seen in other searches in the past, or we've worked with in other communities, and I would present those to you tonight.
Okay.
The first is
Bernie,
Ryan.
I'm just going to note we're at 5:45. So.
Yep. The first candidate is Ryan McNutt. Ryan has a master's degree in history from Fitchburg State, BS in education from Fitchburg State. He's most recently been the town manager of Palmer, Massachusetts. So a little bit of a distance from you, but not too bad. Council manager form of government, which is different than what you have, form of government. He'd also served for a very short time in Claremont, New Hampshire as a city manager. Again, council manager form of government, which is a little bit different. But he had served as the town administrator in Lancaster for one contract as town administrator back in 14 through 17. He'd also served as the chief of staff to the mayor in Fitchburg, Lisa Wong, who's currently the town administrator in neighboring nearby South Hadley. And she had also moved him in, after being her chief of staff, into director of housing. So he has the experience of being a town administrator. He's worked in select board members. He's worked with town meeting. He understands municipal finance. The housing position has given him a good background in that issue, which is, of course, an issue in Southampton. Worked in economic development in Palmer, and we've gotten some good feedback from some of the department heads there that have worked with him. We have some good feedback that we received in each of the communities, including speaking with Mayor Wong or Town Administrator Wong from their experience in Fitchburg when we've spoken to her in the past regarding Ryan. So he's your first candidate, and these are in alphabetical order. The second is Scott Zabak. Scott is a lawyer, has a law degree from Western New England, BA in political science from UMass Amherst. He lives in Palmer. He's currently the personnel director in Lawrence, which, as you might guess, is a substantial distance from Palmer. That's a relatively new position, and he would like to be working close to home. He did have quite a run as the human resource director in Wellesley. And prior to that, he'd served in Chicopee as the human resource director there for about 6 years, and spent a year as the mayoral aide or chief of staff to the mayor. Much like Ryan had served for Mayor Wong. As mayoral aide in Chicopee, you get your hands into a number of different day-to-day responsibilities. And obviously, he has the human resource background. And he recently completed the Mass Municipal Association, Suffolk University local government certificate program, which has given him, again, some educational experience, but also his own experience in working in these communities. He has touched a number of aspects of their operations related to finance, related to procurement, but obviously most importantly related to human resources, which of course is a priority that you have. You have your comp and class plan being completed, and then you'll be working on your personnel rules and regulations or practices. So he brings that experience that can be very helpful. The next steps is we have planned for this Saturday the interviews of these two candidates beginning at 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock. I've sent you a number of topics that I think make sense in terms of topics that should be covered, including their career and specific interest in Southampton, their style of leadership and management, finances, human resources, project management, procurement. Definitely want to talk about planning and development, given the prioritization of open space, housing, and economic development in the town. no town has enough resources, so grant experience we think is certainly very important. And then very important, I think, in the town of Southampton is the importance of community relations, communication with residents, as well as collaboration with the other elected boards that you have. And always important, how's the town administrator going to work with the select board in terms of communication and in terms of roles and responsibilities? So that's my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions that people may have. But that's who we have for candidates. I will, following this Zoom meeting, send you off the resumes and cover letters for each one of the candidates. So it should be in your hands within the next 5 minutes.
Okay, that's perfect. We have scheduled a meeting for Saturday, beginning at 1. I guess I would suggest that we have the first candidate maybe at 1:15, second one at 2:15. Is that possible, do you think, in terms of?
Coincidentally, that's exactly what I've already told them to plan on. So,
all right. Yep. And shall we go in the order you presented? So Ryan being the first one at 1:15, is that?
That's what I have done, yes.
Okay, all right, very good. Okay, great. We'll get that clarified for us. Yeah, any of the select board members, if you'd like to ask Bernie a question or two, please feel free. I'm
good.
John, you okay?
I'm all set.
Dan? Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. And will somebody please mute your phones, whoever's talking there? Yep. Steven, you guys, sorry. Hi. Your meeting coming up. Thanks, John. Stephen, question at all?
No, I understand the process, and I guess what's left is to plan our interview mechanics for
exactly.
Saturday.
Yeah,
Sure.
and I think we can do that a little bit. I mean, I think if the select board would take time to read through the questions that Bernie has sent around to us and kind of note which ones kind of hit close to home for you that you would really particularly like to ask, and then maybe the first 15 minutes of the meeting, before the candidate shows up on Saturday, say right at 1:00, we can just talk about who wants to ask what category of question, or we can dovetail off of it. I think there's prime questions, and then that will lead to further discussion, right, Bernie? And
yeah, and let me, I'll make an offer to you that we do in many communities, is that we do with is that we serve as a facilitator. So, and I think I tried to sort of describe that a bit in my email, sending out the questions, where if you notice, we list topics, and then in each topic we list a start off or kickoff question. And in this particular case, what we would do then, if you were interested in us doing this, is we think it's important to have a dialogue more than anything else. And so we would serve as a facilitator to put that first question out, and asking them to specifically talk about that particular topic. And then you have the follow-up questions that are listed to the side. Those are just suggestions, but board members may have other questions along that topic area, or other questions in general that you want to talk about. But what we would do is, so for instance, in the first, if we're asking about financial management, I would ask the candidates to describe for us their background and experience working with municipal budgeting, and specifically what their philosophy is with regards to municipal budgeting. How they utilize the resources, how they make decisions regarding revenue estimates and cuts in expenditures. Just have a general discussion with them about the topic, and as they answer those questions, that would then open the door for the board members to jump in and ask specific questions about their experiences in particular areas, or get more elaboration, more of an understanding of what thought process these candidates go through with regards to municipal finance.
Right. Okay. And we're expecting you to be here also, Bernie, right?
I will be there. Yes.
Perfect. Good. Okay. And for everybody who may not be clear on this, tonight we had to do to Zoom, but we will be in person on Saturday at 1:00. Okay. All right. Anybody else have any thoughts here? I guess we will look forward to the resumes and do some homework, reading on the questions, and think about some others that we can ask. And hopefully we can have a good set of interviews. And I think our intent right now, Bernie, is to get through the interviews and deliberate and hopefully make a decision that night or that afternoon as to who our preferred candidate is. I think we'd like to jump on it. We don't want to
Sure.
risk losing anybody, I don't think. So I think that's about it. Okay.
Yeah, one thing I will say is when I send this out, if board members have specific questions about the candidates that they want to talk to me about before Saturday, feel free to reach
right.
out, and I'll be happy to talk to you and give you the information you might be looking for.
Okay, that's very good. I thank you very much. Okay, so with that, could I have a motion to adjourn? Dan or Stephen? John has had to leave for his meeting.
Second?
Stephen? Yep. And second. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. All right. We will call this adjourned at 5:55. And thank you, Bernie, for sticking within the time frame. And we'll
Certainly.
see you on Saturday.
See you on Saturday. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Bye now.